All right, all praises be to Yahweh Bashmi Shai, Wahara Kakudash, Yahweh being who people call God, Yahweh Shai being who people call Jesus, double honors to the apostles over the great Millstone Church, salutations as well to the elder bishops, on down to the rest of the elders and Akim also of the branches holding forth the true word of life. So I'm just getting into a lesson dealing with a meditation on, get involved or get escorted, be involved or get escorted, meaning be escorted out. So again, be involved, get involved, or get escorted out. This is Proverbs 23:1. It says, "When thou sittest to eat with a ruler, consider consider diligently what is before thee." Now we're gonna come back to this. Let me read it one more time though. It says, when I'm gonna read in the NLT actually, while dining with a ruler, pay attention to what is put before you. So let's go to the book of Matthew 22, and let's start at verse 8. Then said he to his servants, the wedding is ready, but they which were bidden were not worthy. Go ye therefore into the highways, and as many as ye shall find bid to the marriage. So those servants went out into the highways and gathered together all as many as they found, both bad and good. So that's dealing with the parable where the Lord likens this truth unto a net that's cast out into the sea, meaning amongst the people, because they're scattered amongst all people, and it gathers both good and bad. So through process, or simply, you're gonna bring in people that's truly of the elect and niggas, people that know what's going on and people that don't, people that will be enlightened and turn from it, people that's not actually following the commands of the Lord, man. You know what I'm saying? But because that's what is found in the sea, unclean, the unclean and the clean. All right, the things that's lawful to eat and the things that's not lawful to eat. All right, but anyway, reading on, it says, and the wedding was furnished with guests. All right, so now this shows you what we are in the stage of the wedding, of the wedding, because the guests is obviously those that come in, into the wedding, those that's gonna go on and be saved. But what's a part of that wedding? It's a feast. All right? It's a feast. And when you go into that word wedding, let's read this word wedding real quick.
Strong's G 1062, Gamas.
So the outline of biblical usage, at times it could be a wedding or marriage festival, a wedding banquet, or a wedding feast. Then it says matrimony. So that matrimony is obviously a major aspect, because that's the unification or the unifying, of the body back physically with Yahweh Shai and the chariots when he get back. But again, a part of that wedding, like that is a feast. And that feast, as you just seen, is what this is talking about, is actually taking place. How do we know? It says, and my point of all of that is for you to know it's right now. So that's why I started off with Proverbs 23:1, where it says, when thou sittest to eat with a ruler, consider diligently what is before thee. See that? A lot of us don't realize they're already in this stage. You know what I'm saying? So when you read Matthew 22 and 10 continued, it says, I'm gonna just read through 11. It says, and when the king came in to see the guests, he saw there, right, a man which had not on a wedding garment. All right, and this is in the NLT. It says, but when the king came in to meet the guests, he noticed a man who wasn't wearing the proper clothes for a wedding. See? He noticed a man who wasn't wearing the proper clothes for a wedding. So let me read it again. He noticed a man who wasn't wearing the proper clothes for a wedding. So you're gonna act like, you amongst life if you amongst life. You're gonna act like you amongst death if you amongst death. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna act like if you're supposed to be doing something, that's what's supposed to be being done. You're supposed to be getting busy, that's what's supposed to be being done. If you're supposed to be being involved, that's what's supposed to be being done. But a lot don't understand that. And that's why they're gonna get you getting this message first and foremost. So it's get involved, be involved, which shows you get it. You know what I'm saying? You got on a proper understanding. Hence you got on the wedding garment. Because if you don't, you're gonna be escorted. You got a lot that are just here, not being involved, not involved, and not being involved. Not involving themselves or being involved, which I'm gonna expound on that. It's just a moment. So again, and when the king came in to see the guests, he saw there a man which had not on a wedding garment. And he said unto him, friend, right, how camest thou in hither not having a wedding garment? So this is how you know, right? This is not when the Lord comes back, because when the Lord comes back, is it gonna be somebody that make it on the ship, without a new body, in a bugged out state of mind? No. That's why we get changed in the twinkle of an eye before that even happened. You know what I'm saying? Before we can go into the ships. You see that? We're gonna put off these mortal chains, darkness, these bodies, these thoughts that's without understanding. All that's gonna be put off. You know what I'm saying? So this is how you know, because this obviously is a man in here without the proper understanding. He's not addressing things right. This is an individual. This is a believer. It says, and he came and he said unto him, friend, how camest thou in hither not having a wedding garment? And he was speechless. Then said the king to the servants, bind him hand and foot and take him away. Cast him into outer darkness. So that's likened unto a brother being in the camp and the spirit come over brothers to put a brother out. You know what I'm saying? And those servants is also talking about who? Angels. So the angels will make a way to where a brother that's already gone, never came in right, a believer, but that's around, hence not being involved, not involving themselves, he gonna make a way to where they get the hell out of here through the angels. Remember they did that when they in the what was that, Kings? When they said, who shall persuade Ahab that he may go down to remote Gilead and fall. This is 1 Kings 22 and 20. 1 second. It's kind of outside the point. 1 Kings 22 and 20. Just more, detail. But anyway, this is 1 Kings 22 and 20. I'm going to actually start at 20. Let's start at 19. It says, and he said, hear thou, therefore, the word of Yahweh. I saw the Lord Yahweh sitting on his throne, and all the hosts, right? And all the hosts of heaven standing, right? And these are, hosts is known as also what? A servant. You see that? So when you go to the word host, it say what? Service in the Hebrew. All right? Service. Hebrew word tazabah. All right? So coming back here, it says, standing by him on his right hand and on his left. And Yahweh said, who shall persuade Ahab that he may go up and fall at Ramoth Gilead? Right? And one said on this matter, and another said on that matter. So this talking about the angels, hence the servants. This the way we get them up out of here, man. We gonna create an event to where, you know, what you want to happen can happen. It says, and there came forth a spirit and stood before Yahweh and said, I will persuade him. And Yahweh said unto him wherewith, and he said, I will go forth and will be a lion, and I will be a lion spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. And he said, thou shalt persuade him, because he only listened to his prophets, right? So I'm going to go jump on his prophets, you know what I'm saying? But I'm going to tell them some shit that ain't even true. I'm going to have them say some shit that, you know, is not even true. And he going to believe it, you know what I'm saying? Because he's a respecter of persons. It says, and he said, thou shalt persuade him and prevail. So the Lord already knew this, right? This is for us to get insight. It says, and prevail also, go forth and do so. Now therefore, behold, Yahweh has put put a lion spirit in the mouth of all these thy prophets, and Yahweh has spoken evil concerning thee. All right. So when we go back to that Matthew 22, all right, Matthew 22 and 12 to 13, then said the king to the servants, bind him hand and foot and take him away and cast him into outer darkness. See that? So the spirit will jump on the men, you know, to put a motherfucker out, put a brother out. The spirit also will have the angels who are also the fellow servants of these same men, which you can read in Revelation 19 when John was told Yawachanan was told, don't bow down to him by the angel, worship, you know, Yahweh, you know, Ba'ashem Yahushua, for the testimony of Yahushua is the spirit of prophecy. But he said within that, roughly paraphrasing, I am of thy fellow servants, which also have the testimony of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. Worship Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, for the testimony of Yahushua is the spirit of prophecy. Roughly paraphrasing. So they're servants. So the Lord can have a man get escorted out of this feast that he's actually in, you know, where he's supposed to be moving, you know, that a believer is actually in right now. Those Israelite is actually in right now, exposed to the truth, you know, where they supposed to be moving a certain way, getting involved, being involved, involving themselves with this. You supposed to be, it's like being here and not eating. You know what I'm saying? You just in here spying out motherfuckers' liberty. You ain't eating, and meaning, what did that mean by not eating? That means you're not listening. You're not even getting food for thought. You're not even changed. You just in here looking around being weird. You know what I'm saying? The Lord's gonna fucking escort your ass out, because that means you don't have a wedding garment on, man. You know? You ain't in here with the understanding you need. You know? You in here naked. All right? There, and cast him out and cast him into outer darkness. Right? There shall be weeping. Look, check this out. It says, there shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. So that means where he's getting sent to is a place that hasn't even been judged yet. See that? So that's talking about you getting taken out of the truth, hence the wedding feast. That's clearly going on now, and getting your ass sent back into the world. All right? So you got to be, and why does that happen? Because you are in here without thoughts of understanding. You're not involving yourself. You got to know that's going on now. You got to evolve yourself or be involved. This is Revelation 1:3. Blessed is he that readeth, right? And they that hear the words of this prophecy. See that? So when you go into that word blessed, it means favorable. You're gonna be well off. You're gonna be as one that's favored and that's profitable when you go into this word blessed. Let's get it real quick.
Strong's G 3107, Makarios. Macarius.
Macarius. It says fortunate, well off. See, fortunate, well off. Now let's get the word fortunate.
Fortunate.
Favored by or involved in good luck or fortune. Lucky, or fortune lucky. So ain't no such thing if the Lord is with you. That means the Lord is with you. He approves of you. Hence, you're favored. You're highly favored. You're sitting pretty. These are synonyms. It also says you're wealthy, rich, and influent. You see that? You're comfortable, meaning because you got the comforter. You see that? You're successful. You're flourishing. See, you're growing. It's another key word I want to get here. See that?
Profitable.
You're profitable of a business or activity yielding profit or financial gain. So you're beneficial to not only yourselves, but others, because you're beneficial to yourself. You're being beneficial to yourself. So you're supposed to be in here coming up for yourself first and foremost, actually here for a purpose, to where you can be of good use. You see that? So let's go back here to this. So that's what it means to be blessed ultimately, profitable. Now, how? It says, blessed is he that readeth and that hear the words of this prophecy. See that? And keep those things which are written therein, for the time is at hand. So yeah, blessed is he that readeth and they that hear the words of this prophecy. So you either got to be reading or hearing. What does it mean to read or hear? Because there's clearly a difference. Reading obviously is going to those that's teaching. You're going to be blessed by reading, profitable if you're reading or hearing, meaning involving yourself, you're involved in this thing, because you're involving yourself when you're teaching. Because when you go into the word reading, read it, that's obviously what that will be going into.
Strong's G 314. Anagnosko.
Anagnosko, to distinguish between. See that? So when you go to, I believe that's Nehemiah, the 8th chapter, it says, we gave the people the sense of what was being said. See that? So these are people that's discerning, right? Through the labor, so the toilsome labor of the mind, towards the finding out of the parables, the things that Yahushua spoke, the dark sayings, the scriptures, right? And they showing them forth to the people. These are the watchmen, because only a watchman can point out danger to the people. Obviously, they have the ability to distinguish when the seasons, when danger is on the way. So these are brothers that make videos, that teach, that show what's going on. That's what it's talking about. It says to recognize, to know accurately. These are those that can play skillfully on the instrument, on the scriptures. Because are all prophets, are all teachers, are all apostles? No. But you got many type of believers or many offices within the body that supply all the needs for the body, to each joint, to each other part. You know what I'm saying? So if you're not doing that, what happens to that body part? It's dead. It gets cut off. It gets amputated. You see that? It gets escorted out. See that? So that's it. It says to know accurately, to acknowledge, to read. Now, that's pretty much it. Look, it says to read to others in the Thayer's Greek lexicon, to read to others. See that? To read to others. And that's what it means when it says, lift up thy voice like a trumpet and show my people. Matter of fact, cry aloud. When you go into that word cry, it means to read or recite, meaning bring out the scriptures, call out. You see that? Tell Jake. So those that's doing that are those that's reading, so they're profitable. But then you got those who don't have that lot, So are they to sit around this while this feast is going on? Because that's what's having the feast going on. The fact that these words of life water, honey, wine, meat, milk, bread, is spiritually is going forth. Salt. See that? It's all going forth. Grapes, figs, right? Fish, the lawful things. All right? It says, when you get the word hear it, it says what?
Strong's G 191. Akuo. Akuo.
It says to attend to. See, to be endowed with the faculty of hearing, not deaf. That's why he said, blessed are your ears, for they hear and understand. You see that? But all ain't been given a mouth to necessarily bring it out, but they understand it and they believe it. You see that? So that's listening to the videos. You either making videos, breaking down the scriptures to others, reading the scriptures to others, you know what I'm saying? Or you listening to others that are doing it. And by either one, you are either involving yourself or being involved. You know what I'm saying? You can't think you're going to be well off or profitable if you're not doing that. You got motherfuckers fake talking, not listening when somebody else that's truly talking sincerely and getting it right is talking. You know what I'm saying? So you about basically out here starving. You in here like you here for, you ain't even concerning yourself with that. So it's like you here for some other shit, right? It says to attend to, all right? It says consider what is or has been said. So that's the difference between those that the read it and hearing. That's the difference. When you're hearing, you're listening to considering what is or has been said. Let me check out what the brothers was talking about. Let me check out the elders was talking about. The apostles was talking about, going into, me keep up with the brothers. You know what I'm saying? You already ain't fucking teaching, so how the hell you know what I'm saying? That don't even make no sense. And then even if you are, that keep you on point. Iron sharpened iron. But see, if you don't get that's what you're here to do, you're supposed to be becoming sharper, you know what I'm saying, profitable. You are not involving yourself. You are, you here for something else. You're gonna be escorted out, man. And that's basically the point. It says to hear something, to perceive by the ear what is announced in one's presence. To get by hearing, learn a thing that comes to. That's all you gotta do. You're gonna be well off. It says, look, to give ear to a teaching or a teacher. So the teacher and the teachings will be in those that's fountain. It will be what readeth is laying out. So you're blessed if you read it, well off, profitable, or hence, or hearing, because you're involving yourself in this thing, man. All right. You're involved. So I'm gonna give you a little more proof this is going in, because again, you either get involved, involve yourself, be involved. You either get involved, involve yourself, be involved, or get escorted, be escorted. This is Matthew 22, and it's 10 again. It says, so those servants went out into the highways and gathered together as many as they found. Right? Sound like a feast. Both bad and good. See that? That's showing you. That's why this lesson is relevant. It says, and the wedding was furnished with guests. You don't want to be as one that's bad. It says, and when the king came in, see that? So he came, the Lord pulls up through the Spirit on believers here and there. It says, to see the guest. See that? Now remind you, these guests are of good and bad. So this is not the end all be all. Because in the end all be all is only going to be the good. He saw there a man which had not on a wedding garment. See that? Now, what I was going to get is this. It says he came in, right? This is Revelation 3:20. It says, I'm going to start at 19. As many as I love, I rebuke and chasten. Be zealous, therefore, and repent. All right. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come in to him and will sup with him and he with me. Now, what does it mean to sup? That word sup ultimately goes into feast. All right.
Strong's G 1172. Dipneo. Dipneo.
It says, take the principal or evening meal. I will make him to share in my most intimate and blissful intercourse. And that's what the word wedding went into. See that? So we're in a wedding feast. The Lord is being intimate with us and becoming one with us in the spirit by giving us this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, man. So it's like if you don't get that, it's like you ain't trying to be his wife. You not, you know what I'm saying? Like you here for something else. Like you gotta go. You gotta fucking go, bro. You gotta go. You gotta go, bro. You gotta get the fuck out of here. What the fuck are you here for, man? Shit. I had a couple more, man. It's a lot. You're in this wedding feast now. You know, and if you ain't involving yourself in the way you're supposed to now, you know, either giving the food out or either eating the food, man, you gotta go. You ain't here like you know what I'm saying? Like you're not here for a wedding. You're not here for this purpose. So it's like not having a wedding garment on, you know? And if you don't understand that, you don't have a wedding garment on. Psalms 55, and I'm gonna jump to the point, verse 12. For it was not an enemy that reproached me, then I could have borne it. Neither was it he that hated me that did magnify himself against me. Then I would have hid myself from him. Right. But it was thou, a man my equal, my guide, mine acquaintance. We took sweet counsel together. See that? And walked unto the house of God in company. So we're in the feast right now. When you go into that word counsel, what does it mean? The word is sawad, right? In the Hebrew, it says what? A council of familiar conversation, a divine circle of familiar friends, an assembly. See that? Look, familiar converse, intimacy with God. See that? So we're at a table. All right? Passing the food around. But you got people here looking like they here for some other shit. Don't know why the fuck they here, man. Anyway, man. So that's pretty much that. And I wonder if it was, I think, another one, man. But that's basically the point, man. Oh yeah, I'm gonna get the one at Jude. So again, Proverbs 23:1, when thou sittest to eat with a ruler, consider diligently what is before thee. You better realize you here, this in the time and now. You know? If you looking like you ain't supposed to be here because you ain't involving yourself being involved, you don't got a wedding garment, you know? So he gonna be, you know, what you doing? How you get here? We here for this. You don't like you here for this? You gotta go. You gonna get escorted, bro. Straight up. This is the last scripture. Keep this going any longer. This is Jude chapter 1. Salakia. Jude 1:12. These are spots in your chair. Let me jump up to this real quick. This is 1:4. For there are certain men crept in unawares who were before of old ordained to this condemnation, ungodly men turning the grace of our Lord into lasciviousness and denying the only Lord our God and Lord Yahushua HaMashiach. Jumping down to the point. This is verse 12. It says, these are spots in your feast of charity. These are spots in your feast of charity. While they feast with you, feeding themselves without fear. Clouds they are without water carried about of winds, trees with whose fruits without fruit, my bad, trees whose fruit wither without fruit, twice dead, plucked up by the roots. Exactly. All right? So you're not profitable, but you here. You're gonna get escorted. It's all right. That's what that's going into, man. The elder brought this out, man. All right. I want to get this one last one, bro. I ain't gonna lie. This is in Peter, the second Peter 2:13, and shall receive the reward of unrighteousness as they counted. My bad. As they counted pleasure in to riot in the daytime, spots they are and blemishes. See, you ain't here dressed right. You ain't here looking crazy. Sporting themselves with their own deceivings while they feast with you. And the Lord not finna have that, man. You gonna be kicked, you gonna be escorted out, man. Cause you ain't in this thing, right? You ain't involving yourself. You ain't, you know what I'm saying? Or you not being involved. You gotta be doing one or the other. You know what I'm saying? Sit straight up, and you know what I'm saying. If you are involved yourself, you still want to be being involved. You want to be hearing what's going on, what brother's talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like you in the body, right? Call on like how Bashmi al Shah, how Crocodiles. Till next time, Shalom.